Hello dear students, welcome to the online teaching of English class first year. I am Sabir Hussain. I am a lecturer in English in Islamia Inter College, Ottawa. Today I am going to teach you translation. But before I start teaching you translation, dear students, I would like to give you a pre-knowledge about translation. Translation is an activity that aims at conveying meaning or meanings of a given linguistic discourse from one language to another. Discourse means a long discussion in speech or writing. Translation can be defined in terms of sameness of meaning. Sameness of meaning means similarity. Sameness means similarity. Similarity of meaning across languages. According to some researchers, there can be no absolute correspondence between languages and hence no fully exact translations. Translation at some level is always possible. However, there are times when interlocutors are aware that they do not mean the same by particular phrases. Interlocutors. Do you know the meaning of the word interlocutor? Interlocutors means those who take part in a discussion, or dialogue, engaged in some discussion or conversation. And they are aware that they do not mean the same by particular phrases. Meaning is formed on each occasion of linguistic interaction and therefore unique and not replicable. Replicable means able to be copied. Therefore, a translation can never mean the same as the source text. But this does not matter because practice ensures that translators get away with translating sufficiently well, sufficiently often. Now, there is a phrase, get away with. What do you mean by this phrase, get away with? Get away with means to escape a blame or punishment. Get away with means to escape a punishment. No? Yes. Now let us move forward. Translation means change of sentences given in one language into another. To this end, students are required to have a knowledge of both the languages, because every language has its own rules. Most of the students do not have a complete knowledge about the rules of translation, and so they develop a habit of cramming their subjects. Rote learning. There is a word, rote learning. They begin to rote learning their subjects. They begin to cram their subjects. In order to have a good practice of translation, the students should be well familiar with the rules of grammar and translation. They should do their best to have a good vocabulary. Dear boys and girls, a good vocabulary, a good strength of vocabulary is very essential. for the practice of translation. If you have a good vocabulary, you will be able to translate the sentences very easily. English is nothing but a collection of words. The better the vocabulary, the better the language, and the better the translation. And so you should exert your best. You should do your best to develop a good vocabulary. Okay? For a good practice of translation, the students should know all the tenses. First and foremost, the most important thing is the knowledge of tenses. You should know all the tenses. Now, here I would like to tell you the very meaning of the word tense. The word tense comes from the Latin word tempus. T-E-M-P-U-S. Tempus means time. Now, so there are three kinds of tenses. I think all the students must be knowing these three categories of the tenses: the present, the past, and the future. The present tense, a verb which refers to the present time, is said to be in the present tense. The past, a verb which refers to the past time, is said to be in the past tense. And now the future tense, a verb which refers to the future time, is said to be in the future tense. So these are the three types of tenses before you. Okay, now let us move forward. Now let us try to understand the division of all these three tenses. Okay, now the present tense is divided into the four categories. And what are they? These are: number one, simple present tense. This simple present tense is also known as present indefinite tense. Number two, present continuous tense. And number three, present perfect tense. And number four, present perfect continuous. So these are the four categories of present indefinite. Now present tense. Now let us move forward. The past tense, similarly, the past tense is also divided into the four categories. And here they are, dear students. Number one, simple past tense. Simple past tense means past indefinite tense. Number two, past continuous tense. Number three, past perfect. And in the end, number four, past perfect continuous. So these are the four categories of past tense. Now let us move forward towards the third tense, that is future. The future tense is also divided into the four categories in the same way. Number one, simple future tense means future indefinite tense. Number two, future continuous tense. And number three, future perfect. And number four, future perfect continuous. So these are the categories of the tenses which you have seen. Okay, you must try your best to know all the things about these tenses. First of all, I would like to tell you about simple present tense. Today we shall learn about present indefinite tense. So here is present indefinite for my dear students. So simple present tense is used for the following activities. You see, number one, to express a habitual action. Simple present tense is used to express a habitual action, an action which you all daily do. You do almost every day. Yeah. Number one, he drinks tea every morning. That is, he is in the habit of taking tea every day in the morning. It is his habit that he takes tea in the morning every day. So the most important thing about present indefinite is that the main verb should agree with its subject. If the subject is similar, so you should add s or es to the main verb. If the subject is similar, such as you have done in the first sentence, he drinks tea every morning. This is the most important rule I tell you, and all the students should bear in their minds this subtlety of present indefinite. Okay? Now, number 2, we get up every day at 5 o'clock. So here we see that we is a plural subject, and when the subject is plural, so we make original verb. We use original verb. Okay? It's very important. We do not use s or es to the original form of the verb. We get up every day at 5 o'clock. Okay? Now, number 2, present indefinite is used to express general truths. You say universal truths, such as the sun rises in the east. It's a universal truth. It's a well-known truth that the sun rises in the east. Okay? Now, number 2, fortune favors the brave. It is also a general truth. It is also a universal truth that fortune favors the brave. Fortune is always on the side of the brave. Okay? Now, number 3, in exclamatory sentences. How is this present indefinite tense used in exclamatory sentences? Okay? You say that here comes the bus. Here comes the bus. It's an exclamatory sentence. There she goes. It is also an exclamatory sentence. Okay? I think you must be getting my point very easily. Now, let us move forward to number 4. In vivid narrative, as substitute for the simple past. So present indefinite is also used as a substitute for the past actions or past events, such as Sohrab now rushes forward and deals a heavy blow to Rustam. Sohrab now rushes forward and deals a heavy blow to Rustam. Dear students, you must have read a lesson in your childhood, Sohrab and Rustam. Okay, the entire story is in the past tense. But here you see that an action has been shown in present indefinite, though it belonged to the past in the story. And we say Sohrab rushes forward and deals a heavy blow to Rustam. And now number 5, to express a future event that is part of a fixed timetable. Okay, such as the match starts at 9 o'clock. Here it means match 9 baje shuru hoga. The match will start in future, but we are expressing it through a present indefinite sentence. The match starts at 9 o'clock. It's a beautiful way of expressing a sentence, and you can cultivate it only through practice. The more you practice, the better you become. Okay? Now, number 2. When does the coffee house reopen? When does the coffee house reopen means coffee house kab khulega. It is a future event, but here we are expressing it in a present indefinite way. Okay? When does the coffee house reopen? Now, let us move forward. Now, I would like to give you a practice of sentences. How to change sentences into English. So, first I take affirmative sentences. How will you change affirmative sentences into English? Now, number 1, Ravi तुम्हारी सहायता करता है. How will you change it into English? Ravi तुम्हारी सहायता करता है. Ravi helps you. Ravi is a singular subject and it is a singular subject, and so we shall add s to the main verb, and so we shall say Ravi helps you. try to understand the subtlety. Okay, number 2, तुम अपने गुरुओं का आदर करते हो.
You respect your teachers.
You in English grammar is regarded as a plural subject. Okay, and so we say
You respect your teacher.
as it is a plural subject, so we shall use the original verb without using s or es to it. Okay, you respect your teachers. Number 3, मेरे पिताजी इस दफ्तर में काम करते हैं. My father works in this office. Again, my father is a singular subject, and so we shall use the verb works. My father works in this office. Okay, number next, पृथ्वी सूर्य के चारों ओर घूमती है. घूमती है means revolve. Revolve means घूमना. The earth revolves around the sun. You can say the earth moves around the sun. You know. Next number, मेरी घड़ी ठीक चलती है. मेरी घड़ी ठीक चलती है. My watch keeps correct time. You can say my watch keeps good time. Okay, so these are the sentences, affirmative sentences. You have seen how to change them into English. Okay, now let us move forward. Now we shall take some negative sentences. How do we change the negative sentences into English? Okay, now number 1, चंद्रमा दिन में नहीं चमकता है. चंद्रमा दिन में नहीं चमकता.
The moon does not shine in the day.
So you see, if the subject is singular, so we use does. If the subject is plural, so we use do. Always keep in mind this subtlety of present indefinite. If the subject is singular, we use does not. If the subject is plural, we use do not in negative sentence. चंद्रमा दिन में नहीं चमकता है. Okay, the moon does not shine in the day. Okay, the moon does not shine in the day. Next number, ये लड़के शोर नहीं मचाते हैं. These boys do not make a noise. So these boys is a plural subject, and so it will take do not. With a plural subject, we use do not. Now next number, आप झूठ कभी नहीं बोलते हो. You never tell a lie. Next number, वे अपने माता पिता से प्यार नहीं करता है. He does not love his parents. He is a plural subject, and so it will take does not. Always try to keep in mind. Next number, तुम अपना कार्य नहीं करते हो. You do not do your work. You do not do your work. Okay, you is always regarded as a plural subject, and so it will take do not. Okay, now let us move forward. These were the negative sentences, and now we come to interrogative sentences. How will you change the interrogative sentences into English? क्या वह गरीबों की सहायता करता है? तो to change an interrogative sentence into English, you use do or does at the beginning of a sentence. If the subject of a sentence is singular, we use does at the beginning, and if the subject is plural, so we use do. Just see, for example, क्या वह गरीबों की सहायता करता है? Does he help the poor? He is a singular subject, and so we shall use does before the sentence. Does he help the poor? And one more thing is there, when we use do or does in a sentence, so we use the verb in its original form. Okay, so does he help the poor? Next number, क्या तुम उपन्यास नहीं पढ़ते हो? Do you not read a novel? Okay, now तुम्हें हिंदी कौन पढ़ाता है? Who teaches you Hindi? तुम्हें हिंदी कौन पढ़ाता है? Who teaches you Hindi? Next number, तुम प्रतिदिन कब सोते हो? तुम प्रतिदिन कब सोते हो? When do you sleep every day? तुम प्रतिदिन कब सोते हो? When do you sleep every day? क्या तुम तैरना जानते हो? Just look at the sentence. क्या तुम तैरना जानते हो? Do you know how to swim? Just see the formation of such sentences. क्या तुम इंग्लिश बोलना जानते हो? Do you know how to speak English? क्या तुम दौड़ना जानते हो? Do you know how to run? क्या तुम पढ़ाना जानते हो? Do you know how to teach? So these are the sentences. I think you must have understood the manner in which these kind of sentences are being formed. Now next number, तुम शोर क्यों मचाते हो? Why do you make a noise? Why do you make a noise? Now let us move forward. There are some special type of sentences in present indefinite. Sometimes it so happens that the students with an evil intention in their mind put before their teacher some sentences that are very difficult to translate. And so the teacher should always be ready to answer such questions of the students. Such as there is a sentence, मैं जाता तो हूँ. मैं जाता हूँ, it's very easy. I go. Everybody can translate. मैं जाता हूँ, I go. लेकिन मैं जाता तो हूँ, it's a bit more difficult. If a teacher does not know the real translation of such a sentence, so he will find himself in a row. He will be in difficulty. He will be perplexed and nervous if he doesn't know. So I tell you how to change such sentences into English. मैं जाता तो हूँ, तो you will say I do go. मैं जाता तो हूँ, मैं पढ़ाता तो हूँ, I do teach. I do teach. मैं दौड़ता तो हूँ, I do run. Yeah. Next number, वह अवश्य झूठ बोलता है. वह अवश्य झूठ बोलता है. He does tell a lie. So these are some special type of sentences, and dear students, you should try to keep these sentences in your mind. Okay, now let us move forward. Now in the end, I have the home assignment for my students. Number 1, रवि प्रतिदिन प्रातःकाल भगवान की पूजा करता है. I can give you a clue to change these sentences into English. Ravi worships God every day in the morning. वह कभी किसी को गाली नहीं देता है. He never abuses anyone. He never abuses anyone. Next, मैं अपनी पुस्तकों को साफ रखता हूँ. मैं अपनी पुस्तकों को साफ रखता हूँ. I keep my books clean. I keep my books neat and tidy. साफ सुथरा. I keep my books neat and tidy. इस कमरे में गीत कौन गाता है? Who sings a song in this room? Who sings a song in this room? चपरासी 9:45 बजे दूसरी घंटी बजाता है. The peon rings the second bell at 9:45 a.m. Now, क्या तुम्हारे पिताजी दिल्ली में रहते हैं? Does your father live in Delhi? Does your father live in Delhi? आप कितनी भाषाएं जानते हैं? How many languages do you know? How many languages do you know? मंदिर में रात को कौन सोता है? Who sleeps in the temple at night? Who sleeps in the temple at night? This is all about these sentences. In the end, I would like to tell you that you should practice more and more. The more you practice, the better you become. This is all for today, and I will tell you another tense the next day. Okay? Thank you very much.